Welcome back to the weekly Defuse. We'll be recapping all the biggest happenings this week in Valorant and look forward to next week. We're recording on Wednesday, March 15th, and on this week, we have the final week of North American VCL. We have sport betting is back, baby. It's back. And more meltdown in the Overwatch League. I'm your host, Galaxy, from the Instinct Podcast, and I'm joined by the wonderful Domenic from Off the Dome. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I had a lot of stuff this week. I've been sick all week. Seems like I'm always sick, but anyways, I'm back. I'm ready for Valorant. We're in kind of like an interim week, you know, kind of at the end of the VCLs before the VCT. So it's kind of like, you know, not all that much going on, but hopefully we can kind of, you know, we're getting to the big stuff soon, and that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Like these next week or so, as of right now, there shouldn't be much news or any much like headlines we should talk about. It's more just like about the same thing or just, you know, we're in that little gray area between, like you said, the little, like the end of the VCL, of the group stage, and then like the start of the VCT.
Yeah, even still, there's still some good news. There's just some random stuff happening in VCT, as esports always is. Kind of wild.
Yes, it's definitely an interesting topic as of right now. And let's get into the first news report. We're going to get into the final week of VCL. So I'm going to talk about the spicy Group A that's going on right now. And Dom, if we want to recall back to, you know, I believe the intro episode we had a little bet going on who had the right teams for the groups. And if I remember, I had G2, Oxygen Esports, Moist Esports, I Breakthrough, now is Moist Moguls, and I had Turtle Troop. Those were my four to qualify. And I believe you had G2, FaZe, Moist Moguls, and Shopify. Now, I'm going to go over the standings as of right now and let you know. G2, already solidified in the groups. Even if they lose this week, doesn't matter. They're already qualified. Now, this is where it is. Right now, there is a four-way tie, technically right now, with FaZe, Oxygen Esports, Moist Moguls, and Turtle Troop, all 2-2. And then you have Shopify Rebellion, all the way in below 1-3.
I wouldn't say all the way below. I would just say, like, in third place.
We'll say third place, yeah. We'll say third place in the groups right now. And, yeah, next week, this coming, actually today, technically, the match start. But I think for Group A, the matches for Group A start tomorrow. As of this recording, so it'll be Thursday. So, how confident are you feeling? You know, you were walking in before the group stage extremely confident.
I'm still confident in FaZe, in Moist. Shopify did kind of, you know, fuck up a little bit. They were kind of, you know, wishy-washy, not really doing what they have to do and what they've been doing for so long. They have big losses to, if I'm not mistaken, Moist, FaZe, and Oxygen, all 2-1, so it's down to the wire. They did beat Turtle Troop though, so L. Does mean that this week is against G2. Now, that's not great. But has G2 shown cracks? Yes, it has. It has a big loss to Turtle Troop of all teams. It's gone down to the wire with Breakthrough. It's gone down to the wire with FaZe. So G2 is not immortal, as good as G2 is, and as much as I think that they should be the first seed in the conference, I think that Shopify's not out of it, especially because look at the game differentials. I know you're looking at the bracket. All the differentials are like a few points, a few rounds. Turtle Troop, -6, Moist, -5, Oxygen, 0, FaZe Clan, +6. Shopify is only -1 right now, which means they actually have a better better round differential than both those teams. So if they go 2-3, somewhat dominantly, and if they beat, if any of those other Turtle Troop, Oxygen, if any of those guys lose their match, then hey, look at that. They're back in the contention. So they're definitely not out of it, even though there are 1-3 right now, but it's not looking good.
And for me, I'm kind of thinking I'm in a weird situation. So for me, Moist Moguls would have to beat FaZe. Turtle Troop would have to like not beat Oxygen Esport too badly, so they can make into the maybe squeeze into the 4th seed. And I would need G2 to beat Shopify. So I'm in a very weird situation. But I feel like you're also in a very weird situation, your side of the bracket also. So this week is going to be tomorrow and Friday is going to be very interesting 2 days just to see what's going on. But I think definitely Group A showed out. I think we kind of predicted how Group A is more of just like, it's going to be a wild west of like who might qualify. And again, compared to Group B, where after week 3, we kind of already figured out who's qualifying.
Yeah, Group B is, you can literally see the differential between the top and the bottom tiers. M80 +60 map differential. The Guard +32 map differential. TSM +5, you know, Disguise -7, so it was around the range. Mad Lions -37. OR Esports -53. So it's very clear that these bottom teams, unfortunately, Mad Lions and OR Esports, just not it. They aren't playing as well as some of these other teams, especially because the top end talent in this bracket, I think Disguised 2-2 is pretty good overall. They've had some good wins, some tough losses. But look at M80, 4-0. They have not shuddered at all. 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1 to OR, but they are clean sweeping even the best teams like TSM. I think M80 going in was considered one of the favorites, and it's coming out as the favorite because they're just so dominant overall. Other teams, you have the Guard, who's in second place, 3-1, tied with TSM. Remember, I did say that TSM could place either one or somewhere in the top two, but not, is a very, very strong team, only losing 2 maps to TSM to lose that, but they're up against M80 this week, which is going to be the title favorites battling it out in the Thunderdome, TSM also has an important match this week. They need to beat DSG strongly to try to get that second seed, but either way, they're pretty comfortably in there. Same with DSG. They're also pretty comfortably in the play-in, right? So they're in that 4th seed almost no matter what. So that's going to be interesting to see where they land at. Group B, for the most part, is pretty solid in their standings. It could be a 1 or 2 seed shift. But I think it's interesting that you have 2, if not 3, incredibly strong teams in this Group B. M80, the Guard, and TSM, all making a run at a possible championship here at MSI coming up next week.
Yeah, I think also with the addition of Kempeki taking the place of Hayes, and then now GMD taking the more of the IGL/controller role, definitely showed this team flourished a lot more, and it definitely showed them play a lot more confident when clearly showing against the Guard. Again, a scary team that really hasn't been changed. The only roster they've changed was Sire player for Tex. It's definitely showing that TSM right now, they're no joke. They're a strong contending team. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they take the second seed. It would be interesting to see how they handle it, and I have confidence in TSM. I did underestimate them a little bit, I do have to admit, but they're definitely proving me wrong with this new Kempeki coming in, really solid, really formatted. I think this TSM squad is very solid. I think overall, I'm happy that we got a very interesting tier 2, just a lot of competition. It's not just only 2 teams really matter. No, it feels like 4 or 5 teams could win Ascension now. So you can make an argument for that. And I really, I think just overall, I'm very happy with what we have right now. So we got to see what's going on. Let's see by next week. Let's see who's the guru of the both of us when it comes to our bracket discussions. And now we have our Ecoforce. Are you saving, taking a step back? Are you forcing, taking the gritty, forcing it in on the really hot takes? So Dom, I'm gonna have you go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off with this idea, right? I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna eco. I'm not buying in. I don't believe in it, and that is betting coming back to Valorant. I think there's been a lot of reports recently about how basically in all tier 2, they're allowing sports betting to come back into Valorant. Now, I think here's my personal stance, this is an opinion, but I think it's the right opinion. That's why it's my opinion. But I think that sports betting, especially in a game like Valorant, which is predominantly played by a younger demographic, and sort of promoting this idea of sports betting and sports gambling is really, really bad. If you want to gamble, as a fully consenting adult with your own, thoughts and ideas, go right ahead and do it. I like a game of poker, whatever else, right? When you're trying to market this idea, this highly addictive, brain-altering, thing like gambling to kids, it is not a good idea because this enforces and reinforces so many bad tendencies. It's a dangerous mindset to have, especially, and it's dangerous to instill it in, to a young demographic like Valorant. I think sports betting, I've seen it kind of take hold of a lot of people in a lot of places, even like streamers, right? This whole Kick versus Twitch and Kick's, promoting gambling. It just shows how powerful gambling is and how bad it is. Sort of expose it en masse to people. I think doing that for tier 2, sure, it will inject new money into the scene, which is good, but it's just bad money. It's like trying to sign with a multi-level marketing scheme. Sure, it's money. It's but it's not going to be good. It's like signing with FTX, but they're going to fail. It'll be money, but it's still kind of, damaging your brand. I think that there's so much nuance to this, but at the end of the day, I think that the token message is that do not sign with sports betting, especially in Valorant. It is just so bad for all those involved, especially the fans. It just makes it worse for people in general. That's my stance on this. Galaxy, do you got anything else? bad.
I mean, I would agree with you. Yeah, I think because due to Valorant being such a young demographic, I would compare it to like CS:GO right now, which is they do have they are a partner with a betting website. I think it's XBets or something like that.
GG bets or some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's like CS:GO is definitely a much like it's been out for 10 years. There's a much adult audience around it. It's mostly an adult game. So that's more basic. But when it comes to Valorant, and I mean, look at example for FTX. They promoted crypto. Look at FTX as a company now. It's just essentially gone. There's no more FTX anymore. The company went belly up. They used it they used it for League, and then TSM was sponsored by a 10-year, like something crazy, like a 10-year, $200 million contract with FTX. So it's like I feel like crypto and then betting goes hand in hand, and just like giving I think what the article said was only tier 2 as of right now can partner with betting websites, but I feel like they should just avoid it completely. I just don't think of it, and I don't say it's going to happen, but there could also be match fixing, which we've definitely seen in the past has happened. So we don't want that, and we want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So there's also that into the fact, but betting as a whole is not the best right now. But I think
that's what I'm selling on it.
I think as of right now, just because of how young the audience is and what the demographic you're hitting, I just don't think that you should be allowing betting into esports in general. It's just not at least in Valorant specifically, but you should not be allowing in it. It's just not a safe space as of right now, because a lot of people don't even know what betting is. They never really touched it, and if they try to touch it, gambling is an addiction. It's a real addiction that could happen, and it can ruin someone's life. So I would agree with you. It's as an adult, if you're a functioning adult, go right ahead. Who cares? But if you're promoting it to children, not the best.
Yeah. So what do you got for me then?
I'm gonna go with a force. I'm gonna go with a hot take. I think esport content creation is dying. Not really. I think that we need to. I feel like other than Ludwig, he is the only real person that I've seen that has been holding very eventful content. When he did the Tarek and Ludwig Invitational, that was beautiful. It was amazing. He held an esport event. He had it more like a basement kind of thing. Like, it was a really cool, nice aesthetic to it. He had tier 1 esport. It was amazing. He had the chess boxing event. Like, that was he mixed Smash and also chess, but he also did chess and then boxing. That was such a good mashup that he did. I feel like we haven't really had a creative way of really combining sports and content with it. And I feel like we're just throwing these, look at these $10 monthly, 10K monthlies. Here's a small little LAN tournament. But like, I feel like there's not really any content creation behind it. And I hope to hold one day a ping pong tournament. I have to admit, I am very confident when it comes to ping pong. And I know esports and ping pong kind of go hand in hand. A lot of players play a lot of ping pong. So in the future, if this ever does go big and we ever hold a tournament, I am down to call out any Valorant content creator in a 1v1 tournament, bracket wise, and we play Valorant we played a Valorant tournament also. I think that's a good idea for anybody who ever wants to create. Any sponsors that want to sponsor us to help us with it, I feel like it'd be a sick ass event. I feel like that would help revitalize esport event. I feel like it bring people together, combine other outside sources to it as well. I don't know. I just feel like content creation esports has been a little stale, and if we bring that into it, it spice things up a little bit.
You caught me really off guard. I don't know what you were going to say. I didn't expect you to say anything, but I was not expecting ping pong as the savior to esports content creation. I think you're definitely right in some aspects. Maybe not in content creation, but like as in events. Because I was even just looking at VLR, and I didn't even know that there was a Knights monthly circuit coming up soon. And I'm like, wow, another one, I think it's really good that there's a lot of tier 2 events and tier 3 events. At least like they're trying their best to do all these things. But I think there definitely needs to be more high-end invitationals or ways to get people, more of like the casual audience involved in Valorant, because there's a lot of like the ticky-tacky Valorant stuff where it's like, oh yeah, tier 2, tier 3, but let's say, unless you're people like us who just really enjoy the game and really enjoy watching it at that kind of level, you don't have something for the casuals outside of just the big tournaments or the VCTs. We did have, the big tournaments recently, but I think something like a World Cup, like I could imagine, Ludwig, Tarek, whoever else team up and try to get the best pros to do a World Cup. I could see that. If not Valorant themselves doing that, Riot Games. Yeah. Even some sort of like March Madness bracket, which I guess kind of was the lock-in tournament, but if you were to do that with any team can enter, That'd also be good. Some sort of, interesting twist in the format these high-end influencers and content creators could partake in would be great. I don't think esports content in that way is completely dead, because you do have players like, XQC possibly buying a roster, which I didn't really talk about. XQC might be buying Turtle Troop. You didn't really mention that, but XQC potentially buying a team. Ludwig and Disguised Toes both buying a team, that's in tier 2. That's great for the scene, not just for the casual viewers that are watching them, but also, sort of indoctrinates more Valorant watchers in that sense, right? So hopefully as that kind of grows, we have more content creators in the scene. Maybe get an OTK team, an OTV team.
Yeah.
Some sort of a more diverse spread across the content space where Valorant kind of influence that. That's where I think on that. Ping pong, I don't know about that, but I think it could be a fun tournament.
I'm spitballing here. I feel like it would just bring a nice creative flow to it, or we just have I just bring outside sports to it, just switch it up. I think the Ludwig chess boxing event really opened my eyes. I'm like, what else can we mix with it? I know they did Smash and like that because that's a 1v1, but I feel like, I don't know, if we just had a mix up of sports and esports, and we just try to mesh it together a little bit, I think it would work really well. It'd be nice to have people, you make new people, make great content to it as also, mix it, raise it for some charity. I think it would just be overall just a great event. But
I love it.
I never said when it comes to content creators are not the one. I'm saying esport content creation is kind of lacking, because you can only do so many 10K monthlies or 5K monthlies where it gets just stale.
I was going to say, I have this idea that I bring up to my friends all the time, that they should be, I guess it could be like a 5v5, like a, typical Valorant team versus another Valorant team, except there's 5 extra people, right? And they're the O-line. So the 5 people on offense, they're playing their game, whatever. The other 5 people are protecting them from the other team, and they're trying to just unplug their computer. They're trying to rip them out of their chairs, They're trying to, it's a full-out brawl.
It's like Red Robin or Red Robin. I don't know if you ever played a game like that, a game called Red Robin, where you just hold each other's arms and then someone would try to break it, or try to break through your arm lock. We used to play that game as a kid. I know it's in America, but I know you're Canadian, but I don't know if you played it. But we played a game called Red Robin, where you would lock arms and then someone would try to run at you full speed and try to break that lock. And I feel like
that's an awful game.
It was very dangerous, by the way. Super dangerous. It was not safe at all. People could dislocate their shoulder. But I feel like something like that would be really sick. You could send one at a time, then a minute later, send the other person. They try to go after each other. They try to block it and all that. I feel like that would be sick. But, that's what I'm saying. See, something like that, we can bring it down to nitty gritty. I think it would be really sick. But that's my opinion on it. But yeah, I feel like throwing those ideas out there. So if anybody is listening that wants to sponsor us, or any content creators that listen to us that want to collab, we're more than down to do this. I think it would be sick.
Hell yeah.
That's my force of the week.
Yeah, I got another one for you. I have a bit of a bold statement, and I don't think it's that. It's a bit of a force for me, but I don't think it's that shocking, and that is that esports journalism is dead. There is a lot of esports journalists and journalism going around, but mainly focused on the influencer journalist. People like Jake Lucky, people like George Geddes, people like Hunter, and it's this, I don't know, very weird cycle of clout chasing versus journalism. And I think it's hard to have a journalist that can, act on their journalistic integrities to the fullest extent without trying to, make their own in esports. I think there's this tweet I want to pull up from Jake Lucky that I think speaks a lot to the mindset of the current space, right? Hot take. If you're a pro player, you should be making content, build your brand and image, interviews, streaming, anything outside the game to be relevant. Esports isn't a place where you can sit back as an athlete and rely on your game to perform yet. This is kind of a reons from C9 Porty, but overall, he's basically saying that you need to content and be an influencer to be able to do the best in esports. I think that applies to the journalistic integrity and journalism as a whole, where these journalists are trying to, not only make it as people that say the news, but they're trying to be that person, the personality in that space. And I think this all kind of pinpoints the end, where Jake Lucky ends by saying, also, if you're a pro player who wants to do an interview, my DMs are always open. Can be a 10-minute long interview or a 60-minute long interview, does not matter. So he's even trying to hustle in the statement where he's saying you gotta be the, Now, there's definitely some pros and cons to every journalist trying to be, kind of this guy, this influencer person. And I think influencer culture as a whole is a very dangerous thing, especially when everybody's trying to be an influencer, is that it's hard to tell what is the best and what is, what is the truest. Someone like George is oftentimes, giving the news in pretty good ways, right? Recently there was some C9 news that came out. Again, I was surprised we missed this. This came out like 5 minutes before recording. Cloud9 picked up Rooney and Jakey. Rooney coming from ZMM Sonics, he's an initiator player, as well as Jakey from NSIC, and also just generally a collegian player. He's a Jet, more of a flex role himself, but I think coming from collegian all the way to pretty good. But back to journalism, George will also oftentimes get into fights with people on the timeline, and I'm like, I just want the news, It's a very difficult way of balancing your personality and growing while trying to, do on your own, because esports has such little stability in it that you kind of need to rely on yourself to do that. So I understand where it's coming from. I just don't like it. So that's my take on that.
I think I do agree with you. I feel like Jake Lucky feels like he's one of those journalists, quotation mark journalists, who I feel like does strive off the clout more than anything than actual news. It does feel like he's more just like saying stuff just to get attention, so people, so he can get players or pros to come on and talk about it. Like the recent there was a recent controversy about like pro players taking Adderall, and like there should be more stability when it comes to that. And he like brought on like a Fortnite pro to talk about it, but he also like tried to hustle a lot of players to just, hey, why don't you come on and talk to me? We could just record this and we can make a quick video about it. But it's like, do you really actually care about the topic, or do you just do it just to get more attention and more people, more professionals on the scene on? I feel like George is one of those rare occurrences where he does it in a perfect blend of both, in my opinion. But because he's a friend of mine, and I feel like he does a good blend of like, when it comes to journalism, like, because I've had him on the podcast and he's told me, he's like, when it comes to my journalism, when it comes to actually giving the story of rosters, I make sure that shit's right, because he knows if he gets shit wrong, if he does any slip up when it comes to his journalism, his integrity goes down. So from my experience talking to him, I know his respect and his grind. He's like, when it comes to the journalism aspect of it, I take that seriously. I don't joke around. I get my news for it. I quadruple check my sources before I even publish it. I might hear some things here and there, but I won't publish it unless I do it. For him, he does not post. He posts rumors, but he knows that rumors that is going to flourish into beginnings. And of course, he does like he memes around. He like goes off on Twitter against people. But I feel like as a journalist, you also want to have that you also want to build a brand for yourself. Not only just for yourself, but you also want to build a brand just so others can like respect you in a sense of as well. So I do understand where you're coming from when it comes to the Jake Lucky side and the Hunter side, but I also think that some people like George also does like a good blend of both, in my opinion. But I do understand, and I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I just don't think I'm much of I'm a very like functional person where I'm like, there's times to meme and there's times to clean. But I think that, I like my news as the news, and like I like to keep them separated in that sense. I'm not a big fan of, certain, just being an influencer, trying to become a personality just for the sake of being a personality. Rich coming from me as a, person with a podcast right now. But I think that, it's just this influencer culture of you can't do your job. You have to include this extra step of, you have to meme, and you have to have like a personality to do these things. And you can't, even like being a pro player, right? They're making these claims that you have to be an additional influencer personality, which I hate that it's true right now because of the stability of the esports scene right now. But I think perpetuating that idea is dangerous in itself, and like keeps the idea. It's a tough idea, but either way, we need like a Nardwar, we need a Nardwar for Valorant. Someone who's just going out there and just like saying stuff and then disappears. I'm cool with that.
Hopefully maybe one day when the esport bubble pops and more of a traditional, like I feel like a Nardwar would save not save journalism, but would put it in the right track. But I think journalism is definitely in a weird spot because anybody can be a journalist, to be say. Mm-hmm. So my eco of the week, it's a pretty safe bet. Back to the VCL, I say that M80 is going 5-0 now. Their last match is against the Guard, the second best team in the whole circuit. So you're wondering, how can you be so confident? How is that an eco? Mine is Breakthrough, which, by the way, OR Esport. I'm sorry. It was OR Esport. Minus that, by the way, it was their first time playing in a match together as a 5. So, they were getting some rust off. Minus that, they have dominated every single game after that. OR was the only 2-1. TSM 2-0. A little close on some of the maps. They went to overtime. Still handled it in the second map. Mad Lions didn't even get past 6 rounds. Mad Lion didn't even get more than 6 rounds. Disguised didn't even get more than 3 rounds. In the first map, they beat them 13-3. In the second map, they beat them 13-2. Every match they have played, they have gotten better and better and better. So with repetition and just having just a good structure and a good lineup, it would be shocking if they don't 2-0 guard. So in my opinion, seeing them only get better, and in my opinion, in a stronger group than compared to Group A, I think that it is a very interesting side, and I think just seeing them getting better, and of course having Happy, if anybody don't know, Happy is their head coach, if for the old CSGO heads. He used to play for Envy. He won a major with them. But he having that kind of leadership and having that veterancy. Essentially, this is more of like a young core. Minus, Nismo. He's like 28. But, having a young core, it's still having that leadership. I think they're a very structured team that could honestly just be in a franchise if they're just as good as any franchising team, if anything. So, my eco of the week, they're beating Guard 2-0. Simple.
Yeah, I spoke with Mark Maru a couple weeks ago. I still have to release that video. And somebody said to me that when I first heard it, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, buddy. He said he has signed the most impressive roster available in Tier 2 scene on paper. And I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, sure. And I'm not going to lie, he was right. After seeing them play, after seeing them dominate so strongly, not only with Happy, their coach, with a pickup like Xander, I've been singing this man's praises forever. He's such a smart player. Constant top. The ex-Ghost Squad, Koala Noob, Nismo.
And John QT.
They have another guy there, I can't remember as well. John QT. Yeah, no, John QT is also crazy. This whole roster, EU from NRG, this roster is so insanely good, and I'm just so happy to see them produce at such a high level, and that you could just take some of the best pieces and put it together in a well-structured team and have one of the best teams, not only in Tier 2, but I'd say one of the better teams in Tier 1 right now, Tier 1 North America, because of just how good they are.
Yeah,
that's great.
I love. Nate is a friend of mine too, so I love how he runs his team. Easily M80's is one of the most fastest growing esport brands right now, or fastest esport orgs right now. And with Valorant leading the charge, they just look like a very solid team. It feels like they definitely put the foundation and they took the experience from Xset, because Nate used to work with Xset. The other owner used to work with Xset as also. They after they made M80, and I feel like they took all the mistakes and all the problems they might have had in Xset, and they made it into M80, and it just flourishes. This org is such a good structured org, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made franchising spot. This is such a well-rounded squad. In my opinion, the only team that can really challenge them is maybe the Guard and G2. They're the only 2 teams I can think of that can maybe put them in their place, but there is no other squad, minus those 2 teams, that can even touch M80 as of right now in their current state. They are just dominant in every aspect of the game. They'll beat you in the slow game. They'll beat you in the 1v1 fights. They'll out IGL you. They'll out coach you. So M80 is easily, and I've been saying this, the best team in the whole squad. But that's my thing, and that's my eco of the week. But yeah. I think that wraps it up for Eco and Force. And Dom, you have one more interesting topic you want to talk about.
Yeah, I got a quick little segment for us here. So before we wrap up here, if you don't know, the Overwatch League is such a poorly run league. There's so much stuff going on in the Overwatch League. Every week it sounds like there's just a new crazy thing. My roommate was telling me about some new Overwatch news about how there was one team that just didn't sign any players. There was a franchise team that just didn't sign any players. Another franchise team took their main DPS, put them on tank so they didn't have to hire another person. There's so many nuances here. So I decided to go back and go through the Overwatch Hall of Shame. The only caveat is that some of these are fake and some of these are true, and I want you to figure out which are fake, which are real. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Los Angeles Valiant hires new assistant coach Hunter to the team. The news was announced by a cameo from Johnny Sins.
Do you want me to guess now if it's true or false? Or
guess now if it's true or false.
I hate this because I could see this being true, but it looks so fake. I'm gonna have to go with false.
You're going with false?
Yeah.
It is in fact true.
No
I'll send you
way. Johnny
It is in fact true.
Wow.
Yeah, this video, it was a video by Unter, not by the team. But still, it was a cameo that did announce his joining of LA Valiant.
They could have gotten anybody, and they chose Johnny Sins. I mean, a lot of people are not going to know who this man is, but you guys do your research. You put two and two together.
Do not look it up.
Don't do your research on this guy. Just he does in adult content. That's all you need to know. That's insane. They actually got Johnny Sins. They thought that was a good marketing ploy. Wow. Great headline. First headline.
All right, next. Toronto Defiant player IM37 played an official online match shirtless, prompting the broadcast to call him pepperoni for the rest of the match.
Okay, this has to be false. There's no way.
Are you locking in false?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's false. That one didn't happen.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that would have been insane.
But it does seem like it could happen. You know, so I game shirtless a lot.
Yeah, I could see this happening also. That's insane. Okay.
We're a Houston Outlaw promotional vlog video. They include a fist fight between players Kuki and Kusta. Both players were given a $1,000 fine, and the org was fined $5,000 for releasing the video.
I'm sorry, there's two players that fought each other. They recorded it, posted it, and they got fined for it?
Yes. From what it sounds like, the video, it was like a vlog, and some snippet in the video was including the fight.
This is false. No, this is that cannot be in it. That's false, right?
This one is false.
Oh,
I was trying to call back to that one In and Out video where the guy gets fired. I'm not sure if you've heard about this one before.
No, what I didn't.
Okay. I really wanted to include this one, but this is a really famous moment where there is a Philadelphia Fusion promotional video where in the video the CEO takes a player to In and Out and then in the parking lot has a conversation where he threatens to fire him if he doesn't perform better.
That's a promotional video.
It was in a promotional vlog video.
That is insane. What is going on over there? What are these Where's the regulations? Who is running these orgs?
All right, next we have some more spicy ones here. Paris Eternal main support Didro had to play his first couple matches out of an Airbnb and 4G hotspot.
With how the Overwatch League is run, I wouldn't be surprised if this is true. I'm locking in true.
This one is true. Paris Eternal main Didro did have to play his matches out of an Airbnb because he couldn't get with the team.
Wait, what was the issue? Did he just not like fly with them? Like, what was the issue?
Honestly, I don't really know, but I think there's a full video. We can link all these in the description. These are all from a Twitter account called Crazy Ass Moments in Overwatch League History. Yeah, there's a video where someone's explaining it all, so we include that as well.
Me and Danny always talk about like how orgs should never invest in the Overwatch League. And so, I mean, I know some of these are fake, but some of these sound very real. That could happen there, which is kind of insane. And it's insane how like Blizzard doesn't help players travel through with the team, or orgs doesn't have the money to help them travel the team, and they have to resort to playing in an Airbnb on 4G hotspot. So that's wow. Okay.
All right, I got one final one for you here, right? So this one, we got 2 and 2. So you got to figure out if this one's, real or fake. Guangzhou Charge signs a 3-year sponsorship deal with multi-level marketing company Herbalife Nutrition. Their products are known to cause liver damage. Is this true or false?
So is this guy a player?
No, this is an organization. This Guangzhou Charge is a franchise.
It's an organization. Okay.
Yeah.
Signed a 3-year marketing level deal with a nutrition bar or nutrition that causes liver damage.
It's a multi-level marketing company, so it's like a Ponzi scheme where you it's like fucking what's that called? The Andrew Tate's thing. It's like Hustlers University, where you get promotional codes. You have you sell products, you sell memberships. Okay. It's basically like a get-rich-quick scheme. They signed a 3-year sponsorship deal with them.
It's a pyramid scheme.
It's a pyramid scheme. So they signed a 3-year deal with a pyramid scheme, and their products do cause liver damage. So
ever since TSM has signed with FTX that deal, I can see any org falling for this trick. Or I think that maybe orgs are they're smart enough where they don't fall for these kind of tricks. I'm gonna have to go with false. I'm gonna lock in false.
So this one's actually true. This one's true.
No way!
Dude,
are you kidding me?
3-year sponsorship deal. I don't know if this is still going on. This is back in 2020 when they signed this deal. So this is 2020. This is 2020. We're excited to announce Herbalife Nutrition as our primary sponsor of our official nutrition partner for the next 3 years. Let's #charge forward. together with high performance through improved nutrition and healthy, active lifestyle.
Wow. Oh my God, that is insane. That's
a little taste of the Overwatch
How do you fall for
League
that?
for
Don't
you.
you do background checks? Don't you like talk business? How do you not know?
Couldn't tell you.
They had to have gotten a good deal to the point where they're like, well, lie. Like, there's no way the deal wasn't, the money that was given to them wasn't good enough where they had no other option but to lie. That's insane. Wow. If that's not enough proof that the Overwatch League is the worst franchising league in the world, what else is there? That is insane. Wow. So what, 3 out of these 5 are true?
3 of the 5 were true.
Wow, that is insane. And 2 of them that were false didn't even, like, it could be, it could happen in the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow. If you learned anything, don't invest in the Overwatch League, because Blizzard doesn't know what to do and they don't know how to manage orgs, and the management over there sucks. So, wow, interesting. I cannot believe they're doing that. I guess on that note, that's it for this week's of the Weekly Defuse. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow both of our channels, Mind the Ancient Podcast and Off the Dome. And right now, we officially finally made a official Weekly Defuse YouTube channel. We also made a TikTok also of it as well. So if you guys want to follow us on TikTok, it's at Weekly Defuse, and YouTube is also at Weekly Defuse. Make sure to follow us on both, and make sure to follow on all channels. Everything will be on the description down below. But thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for watching. If you guys love this, give it a thumbs up and give it a subscribe. Thank you. And have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.